Today we're going to talk about the top 10 oil producing countries. In recent years, the global oil market has been impacted significantly by COVID-19 disruptions, price wars between oil producing nations, and now Russia's war in Ukraine. In the year 2021, oil demand returned as COVID-19 lockdowns eased worldwide, pushing prices higher. In the year 2022, Russia's aggressive war against Ukraine sent oil prices skyrocketing. Many investors are curious to know which countries produce the most oil and may be able to fill the gap if the West places further sanctions on Russia. Here is a look at the top 10 oil producing countries. And at number 1 we have the United States, with a production of 18,875,000 barrels per day, number 1 on the list of the top 10 oil producing countries. The US has been described as a swing producer because its production fluctuates alongside market prices. Texas leads the way as the biggest oil producing state in the nation, with output nearly 4 times as high as the second biggest oil producing state, New Mexico. In addition to being a major oil producer, the US is a big consumer of oil. In 2021, the US consumed a total of 7.22 billion barrels of petroleum products. That's an average of about 19.78 million barrels per day. And on number 2, we have Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia has a production of 10,835,000 barrels per day. The country possesses 17% of the world's proven petroleum reserves and is the largest petroleum exporter. Its oil and gas sector accounts for around 50% of its gross domestic product and about 85% of its export earnings. Saudi Arabia played a key role in OPEC's decision to curb oil output back in 2020. The country decided to reduce production by 3.3 barrels per day to meet the conditions of a deal signed with other OPEC members and allies. In the year 2022, the country's US relations soared to the point that the country seems unwilling to increase production in an effort to bring down rising gasoline prices. And on number 3, we have Russia, with a production of 10,778,000 barrels per day. Prior to production cuts in 2020, Russian oil output had spent a number of years rising. Most of Russia's reserves are located in West Siberia between the Ural Mountains and the Central Siberian Plateau, as well as in the Urals-Volga region, extended into the Caspian Sea. As the third largest oil producing nation, Russia accounts for 10% of global output. In response to Russia's war in Ukraine, Canada, the US, the UK, and Australia have banned imports of Russian oil, representing about 13% of Russia's exports. In March 2022, the International Energy Agency (IEA) warned that Russia could be forced to cut 30% of its crude oil production, resulting in a serious global oil supply crisis. The implications of a potential loss of Russian oil exports to global markets cannot be understated, the IEA stated. And on number 4, we have Canada. Canada has a production of 5,558,000 barrels per day. Nearly all of Canada's proven oil reserves are located in Alberta, and according to the province government, 97% of oil reserves there are in the form of oil sands. Canada is developing ways to diversify its trading partners, especially by expanding ties with emerging markets in Asia. And here we have number 5, China. China has a production of 4,993,000 barrels per day. China is the world's most populous country and has a rapidly growing economy. factors that have driven its high overall energy demand. In fact, the Asian country is the top consumer of oil, with 55% of its imports coming from OPEC members countries. During the first few months of 2022, China's crude oil refineries cut production due to COVID-19 lockdowns, as the virus continues to challenge the government's zero-COVID strategy, although it has since loosened those protocols. And here we have number 6, Iraq. Iraq has a production of 4,149,000 barrels per day. In 2017, despite increasing its output, Iraq got bumped from its position as the 6th largest oil-producing country. Output in 2018 helped the Middle Eastern nation regain its 6th spot position. The country has seen its oil production decrease significantly in recent years, falling from 4,788,000 barrels per day in 2019 to 4,149,000 barrels per day in 2021. It holds the world's 5th largest proven oil reserves at 145 billion barrels. That represents 8.4% of global reserves. And on number 7, we have United Arab Emirates. They have a production of 3,786,000 barrels per day. The United Arab Emirates is an OPEC member and has ranked among the world's top 10 oil-producing countries for decades. In 2021, it saw a small year-on-year increase in production, with oil output rising to 3,786,000 barrels per day. The country holds the world's 8th largest proven oil reserves at 98 billion barrels, with most of those reserves located in Abu Dhabi. The United Arab Emirates accounts for 5.6% of global total reserves. Yes, and here we have number 8, that is Brazil, with a production of 3,689,000 barrels per day. According to the IEA, total primary energy consumption in Brazil has nearly doubled in the past decade because of sustained economic growth. The largest share of Brazil's total energy consumption is oil and other liquid fuels, followed by hydroelectricity and natural gas. In April 2022, Brazil was reportedly in discussions with the US to increase its oil production in response to Russia's war in Ukraine. And then we have number 9, that is Iran, with a production of 3,458,000 barrels per day. According to the IEA, Iran holds the world's 3rd largest proven oil reserves as well as the world's 2nd largest natural gas reserves. Despite its abundant reserves, Iran's oil production has substantially fallen in recent years. It produced 4,779,000 barrels per day back in 2017. US sanctions and regional disputes have all weighed on Iran's energy production sector. China recently signed a 25-year trade and security agreement with Iran and has called on the US to drop its sanctions. And we have last on the list, that is Kuwait on number 10. And they have a production of 2,717,000 barrels per day. Kuwait's oil and gas sector accounts for about 60% of the country's GDP and an even larger share of its export revenues at around 95%. And these are the top oil-producing countries. Oil production continues to play a significant role in the global economy, with global petroleum output approaching new record highs. Some of the top oil-producing nations are in an organization named the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, that is the OPEC. Founded in 1960, OPEC is a group of 13 countries headquartered in Vienna, Austria. Led by Saudi Arabia, it controls production, supply, and pricing in the global petroleum market. This organization remains a powerful cartel of oil producers with the ability to influence global market prices. And that's it for this video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it and got value out of it. If you agree or disagree, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to gently tap that like button, smash the subscribe, and ring the notification bell. I'm Anthony Diego, and see you in the next video.